Welcome to PP English Learning and Conversation. In this video, you are going to understand poetic devices of the poem The Planners, written by Boey Cheng. The poem is an expression of his disapproval of the way the landscape of the city is transforming from lively and vibrant to dull and lifeless. Let us begin with the poetic devices. The very first line. They plan, they build, all spaces are greeded. Here in this line, the poet refers to the planners by using the pronoun they. He says that the planners plan and build the city the way they want. The whole poem revolves around the planners and their actions. The figure of speech is repetition. Repetition is a poetic device in which a word or phrase is used multiple times. It is to put emphasis on a word or phrase. This is usually done by the poet to bring poetic effect. Here in this line, the word they has been repeated to emphasize that the planners are very keen to plan and build the cities. In the same line, there is climax as well. Climax is a figure of speech in which words or phrases are arranged in order of increasing importance. Here, actions are arranged in ascending order of the importance. The actions such as planning and building. So it is climax. Next line, filled with permutations of possibilities. In this line, poet means to say that planners are ready to do all the permutations. Permutations, it is variation, combination, different arrangements. They are so perfect in their planning and executing their plans. The figure of speech is alliteration. Alliteration is a figure of speech where there is repetition of same sound at the beginning of the words. Here, the sound of the letter P has been repeated for the musical effect. P in permutations and P in possibilities. Next line, linked by bridges all hang. Here the poet emphasizes that the roads are linked by bridges and all of these have been made with mathematical precision. The figure of speech is alliteration, as the sound of the letter B has been repeated for the poetic effect. B in by and B in bridges. There is one more figure of speech in the same line, that is inversion. Inversion where poet often change the word order. Sometimes poet violates the word order to make the line rhyme or to emphasize upon something. Here, the words in the sentence have been rearranged for the poetic effect. The correct word order should be all hang linked by bridges. Next line, in the grace of mathematics, the figure of speech is personification. As personification is a poetic device where human qualities are applied to non-human objects or ideas. Here, mathematics is an abstract concept that has been given the animate quality of having grace. So it is personification. Next line, even the sea draws back and the skies surrender. Here the poet means to say that rapid and intense construction of building by the planner compels the sea draw back and the skies to surrender. Poet says that the planners don't care that they are destroying the nature. The figure of speech is alliteration, as the sound of the letter S has been repeated for the musical effect. S in sea, S in skies, and S in surrender. So it is alliteration. Personification is also there in the same line. As you know, personification is a figure of speech when inanimate objects are given human qualities. Here, the sea and sky have been personified. Here, the sea is given human quality of drawing back or going back, and the sky is given human quality of surrendering. So, it is personification. There is hyperbole as well in the given line. Hyperbole when a statement or idea is exaggerated or overstated. We find exaggeration in these expressions. Sea draws back, the sky is surrendering. So it is hyperbole. Next line. They erase the flaws, the blemishes of the past. The figure of speech is tautology. Tautology is the use of different words to say the same thing twice. In short, two different words convey the same meaning. Here, the words flaws and blemishes express the same meaning. So, it is tautology. There is one more figure of speech in the same line, that is consonance. Consonance is a literary device where two or more words consist the same consonant sound. The consonant sound Z has been repeated in the line in the words erase and flaws. This is for the musical effect. So it is consonance. Next line. Useless blocks with dental dexterity. In this line, the poet compares the planners to dentists, as planners have skills and expertise like dentists. The planners remove the flaws in the old architecture of a city, just like a dentist who corrects any flaws in the teeth. The figure of speech is consonance, as the consonant sound of the letter S has been repeated in the line. There is alliteration as well in the same line, as the sound of the letter D has been repeated twice. D in dental, D in dexterity. So it is alliteration. There is metaphor as well in the same line, as there is an indirect comparison between useless blocks and rotten teeth. Indirect comparison between planners and dentists. So it is metaphor. Next line. All gaps are plugged with gleaming gold. The figure of speech is alliteration, as the sound of the letter G has been repeated for the musical effect. G in gaps, G in gleaming, and G in gold. So it is alliteration. Next line. The country wears perfect rows of shining teeth. The figure of speech is metaphor, as we find there is an indirect comparison of shining buildings of the country with rows of shining teeth. There is one more figure of speech in the same line, that is personification. As the country has been personified by giving the ability of wearing. Ability to wear. Next line. Anesthesia, amnesia, hypnosis. The figure of speech is consonance. As I have already explained you what is consonance. Consonance is a figure of speech where two or more words consist the same consonant sound. Here in the given line, the consonant sound N has been repeated for the musical effect. That's why it is consonance. There is climax as well in the given line, as the words anesthesia, amnesia and hypnosis have been arranged in the increasing order of the effect. So it is climax. Next line. They have the means, they have it all, so it will not hurt. The figure of speech is repetition, as the words they have and it have been repeated to bring the musical effect to the poem. So it is repetition. Again there is consonance in the line, as the consonant sound of the letter T has been repeated in the line. So it is consonance. Next line. So history is new again. Here the poet means to say that the idea that the planners have the ability to make history new again. It suggests their desire to erase and gloss over the negative aspects of history, as they want to create idealized version of the past. The figure of speech is oxymoron. As you know, oxymoron is a poetic device that combines words with contradictory meaning to form a new word or new phrase. Here, two words of opposite meaning are placed side by side to enhance the effect. The words history and new contradict each other. So it is oxymoron. Next line, the drilling goes right through the fossils of the last century. The figure of speech is consonance, as the consonant sound of the letter R has been repeated in the line. Next line, but my heart would not bleed poetry. Here the poet ends the poem on a sad note by stating that the new world built by the planners does not inspire him to write poetry anymore. The figure of speech is irony. Irony is the use of words to convey the opposite of their literal meaning. Here, the poet does the exact opposite of what he says. As he declares he would not write poetry, but this declaration is made by him while writing a poem. So it is irony. There is alliteration as well in the same line, as the sound of the letter B has been repeated for the poetic effect. B in but, B in bleed. So it is alliteration. Next line, not a single drop to stain the blueprint of our past tomorrow. Here, the planners have captured the present to transform the past into a desirable future for themselves, and the new skyline built by them has suppressed the poet's creativity. The figure of speech is alliteration, as the sound of the letter S has been repeated for the poetic effect. S in single, S in stain. There is oxymoron as well in the same line, as two opposite concepts, past and tomorrow, have been placed in the same line. That's why it is oxymoron. So students, this is all about figures of speech of the poem Planners.